In this video, we'll be configuring DVAAPBase to connect to your SQL Server database. If you don't have a SQL Server instance installed yet and you want to install SQL Server Express, please watch the training video on SQL Server Express installation. Now, when you first run DVAAPBase, there'll be a delay and it won't know where to find your database. So you'll be taken directly to the DVAAPBase settings window on the Database Settings tab. And in order to connect to your database, you need to add two pieces of information here, the server name and the database name. So the server name is the name of the computer where on your network where SQL Server is running. If you have a server installation of SQL Server, your IT department should be able to provide you with the name of the server. If you installed SQL Server Express on your workstation for a standalone use of DVAAPBase, then the server name is localhost, one word. And you also need to indicate the instance name, so you put in a backslash. If you use the standard name of SQL Express, you would enter that. So localhost /SQL Express is the default for a standalone installation. The database name is the name that you gave the DVAAPBase database when you created it in the SQL Server. If your IT department configured SQL Server for you, then they can provide you the name of the DVAAPBase database that they created. The default and recommended name is DVA_DB. Now when I click apply here, DVAAPBase is going to try to connect to the database, and you can see it successfully connected. Now what would happen though if it couldn't connect? So let me change the name of the database here to something that doesn't exist in the database and try to connect. You'll see it's trying to test the connection, which takes a few moments. And when it eventually fails to connect, it will provide information here that it could not connect to the database, and it gives some likely reasons for the failure. So let's go ahead and put back in the correct database name, DVA_DB. Apply that. There, so now we are connecting properly to the database. And now DVAAPBase starts up normally and is connected to the database. Now, if your database gets moved to a different server or the database name changes, you can adjust the database settings by clicking the Settings button here at the top of the screen. And then on the Database Settings tab, just adjust the server name and the database name as needed.